Hey, welcome in. Today I wanted to go over some mysteries and thrillers that are coming out next month. And I wanted to start with Death on the Lania, a Golden Girls cozy mystery. I had no idea that the Golden Girls had a series of books out, but let's read the description here. The invite delivered to 6151 Richmond Street was short on details, only promising to celebrate the greatest artist of the century, and accompanied by a jewel-encrusted brooch, the whole package a brand of mysterious opulence that another Saturday night of gin rummy just can't match. Blanche's passionate dalliances are as plentiful as hot southern nights, and surely one can't be expected to remember all of one's suitors. But when the girls disembark the party's ferry at a small bay island and meet their secretive host, the memories come flooding back. She, a radio city rockette in her 20s, he, the poor artist who could offer her nothing but his love. Fate drove them apart, but Declan, now a famous artist, El Toro, professes that Blanche has always been his muse. Featured prominently in his artworks and central to El Toro's return to the apex of the art world, Blanche is thrilled to have been such an inspiring figure to this man, but looking around at the party filled with those who have made their livings off the artist's fame, his assistant, his art dealer, his greatest critique, and more, Dorothy isn't so sure they're welcome on this island after all. When a tropical storm knocks power out across the island, an optimistic Blanche proclaims that everyone looks better by a candlelight anyway. Yeah, she'd say that. But when Declan is found dead the next morning, all eyes are on her, his supposed muse of 30 plus years. Trapped at the estate with the other guests, all suspects, the girls must band together to find the true killer and get back to pleasant evenings of card games and cheesecake. My dad loves cheesecake. It's pretty good. I'm gonna read that. I need to start that series. The Secret Attic by Chelsea Cond. The past isn't just haunting her, it's hunting her. Dun dun dun. Addison Lowe knew her mother-in-law despised her, but inheriting Barb's massive estate after her death feels less like a closure and more like a trap. Barb's hoarded rooms aren't just filled with clutter, they're filled with secrets, and it's Addison's job to unearth them while Luke grieves the loss of the mother he could never let go of. But Luke grows stranger with every box they open, restless, secretive, cruel in ways Addison has never seen. And the house itself seems to breathe with Barb's presence. Ivy crawls through the windows, a murder of crows drops trinkets at her feet. Dolls stare from the shadows, labeled with names Addison doesn't recognize until she does. One doll bears the name Cassidy Warren, a girl who vanished years ago. And the more Addison uncovers, the more Barb's legacy seems tied to the streak of bad luck that has haunted Rockside Bay for decades. The deeper Addison digs, the clearer it becomes. Some secrets were meant to stay buried, and the husband she thought she knew may be hiding a secret darker one of all. Okay, I killed the ending by stumbling on it, but that's fine. I'm gonna read that one. This next one is called The Final Chapter by C.B. Everett. 10 years ago, a best-selling, critically acclaimed literary author disappeared without a trace and without a final novel. In recent days, the missing manuscript has surfaced, but strangely enough, it's not another genius work of literary fiction, but an espionage novel full of all too stereotypical spycraft and James Bond-like twists. His former publisher has asked the author's best friend and fellow author named C.B. Everett to annotate the novel with details from real life to give the strange novel context within his larger oeuvre. But as CB reads, he finds the espionage thriller is filled with references to events and people who feel a little too familiar. And soon, he's wondering if the novel might in fact be a key to his missing friend's disappearance. There's text and subtext aplenty, and CB is determined to learn once and for all what happened to his friends through solving the mystery woven into the pages, but the final chapter may hold secrets darker and more threatening than anyone anticipated. I want to read that. I don't know. That sounds really good. Backstabbers by Eliza Jabore. Jade, Steph, and Zoe are hiking Washington State's Bones Hollow Trail, braving cougars, black bears, and storms that roll in without warning. Their anxiety isn't helped by listening to a true crime podcast, but the serial killer who once prowled the same forest. When Steph twists her ankle badly, there's no one to hear them scream for help. The only sign of life for miles is a cabin that looks to be straight out of a horror movie, occupied by a man who's all too eager to invite them in. As things take a chilling turn, the friends must find a way to stay alive together. After all, who can you trust when your back's against the wall? Unfortunately for them, the only thing more twisted than this nightmare is their friendship. Okay, that could be worth reading. Next, The Adventures of Juan. My name is Juan Planchard. I'm 29 years old and I have $5 million in my account. I own a house in Caracas, another in Madrid, and a high-rise apartment in New York. I run a sports book at the Palms Hotel in Las Vegas. I share a private jet with a friend's frontman. And I'm convinced down to my bones that every decision I made during the revolution was the right one. My descendants will thank me. Okay, Juan. That was very... So begins The Adventures of Juan, the story of a middle-class nobody turned millionaire by weaponizing the very corruption that swallowed Venezuela. He dines in oligarchs. What the fuck is that? I'm gonna have to Google that one. Sleeps with models and navigates the world where power is the only currency. Morality is a luxury no one can afford. But in the middle of the chaos, greed and blood money, Juan falls hard for Scarlett, a sharp, seductive American beauty who just might be his way out or his ultimate downfall. No. Could be good. I don't know. You read that one and let me know if I should read it. It's coming out June 2nd. It could be good. It doesn't sound like my cup of tea. The Disaster Gay Detective Agency by Lev A.C. Rosen? Sorry. Brandon is a hopeless romantic, so when a handsome stranger named John checks in at the hotel he works at and invites Brandon to his room, Brandon ignores the advice of his crew, a group of lovable and messy queer 20-somethings, and accepts. What follows is a tale as old as time. They hook up, John promises to text, Brandon falls in love, and John ghosts. Case closed. Or is it? When John checks out early, leaving behind a bag of belongings and his cell phone, Brandon takes the phone and sets out to find him, thinking that this must be at least his Cinderella story. But he gets more than he bargained for when he witnesses a murder and then sees John fleeing the scene. Determined, and not in over their heads whatsoever, Brandon, Ollie, Nikolai, and Ian decide to solve the mystery of the murder and uncover John's true identity. They just have to figure out before a target falls on their own backs. Okay, that actually sounds pretty good. I'm gonna read that. This one looks maybe promising. Don't Open Your Eyes by Liv Constantine. Annabelle Reynolds has everything she's ever wanted: a devoted husband, 2 wonderful daughters, and a career she loves. She couldn't be happier, so why is she suddenly plagued by disturbing dreams of a future where she hates her husband and her daughters' lives are at risk? At first, she chalks the dream up to an overactive imagination, but when details from her dreams, details she couldn't possibly have predicted, begin to materialize, she realizes these aren't just dreams, but rather premonitions of a terrifying future. They all point to a singular choice, an unknown moment that holds Annabelle's life in the balance. Then Annabelle has a dream that her daughter Scarlett is in immediate danger. Someone wants Scarlett dead, and Annabelle has no idea who or why. Suddenly, every choice she makes is fraught with peril. With no inkling of which move could bring this terrifying vision to life, as Annabelle's present life starts to collide with the future in her dreams, she wrestles with how much control she really has over her destiny and whether she can change what is meant to be. You First, a Joel Goldberg prequel. Joe Goldberg is ready for his life to start. He's 17 years old, working in Mr. Mooney's bookshop, falling in love with every girl on the subway, all while wondering who will be the one. He knows what he needs, a woman who will force him to get his GED, go to night school, and make something of himself. But who would ever fall in love with him? He spots it. Missed connection, NYC bookstore babe. Someone is looking for Joe, and that someone is Vale, a production assistant with a passion for rom-coms. The only catch, she's 24, which means that Joe has no choice but to lie about his age and, naturally, nearly everything else in his life. Joe thinks he's found true love, but when Vale needs more convincing that Joe is her happily ever after, he's determined to convince her no matter what it takes. With her incisive and darkly comedic prose, Caroline captures Joe poised on the edge of manhood, entering a vicious dog-eat-dog New York dating scene for the very first time. It's interesting. It's been made into a book. I don't... Okay, I might give this a chance. I think I'll give it a chance. I keep saying no, so I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say yes. Someone please tell me how Dean Koontz is coming out with 3 books next month. The Crooked Staircase, A Silent Corner, and The Whispering Room. Should we look at all 3 of these? I say we should. The Crooked Staircase, a Jane Hawk novel by Dean Koontz. Jane Hawk knows she may be living on borrowed time, but as long as she's breathing, she'll never cease her one-woman war against the terrifying conspiracy that threatens the freedom and free will of millions, battling the strange epidemic of murder-suicides that claimed Jane's husband and is escalating across the country has made the rogue FBI agent a wanted fugitive, relentlessly hunted not only by the government but by the secret cabal behind the plot, deploying every resource their Maglan nexus of power and technology commands. Jane's enemies are determined to see her dead or make her wish she was. Jane's ruthless pursuers can't stop her from drawing a bead on her prey. A cunning man with connection in high places, a twisted soul of unspeakable dust with an army of professional killers on call. Interesting. No. I like Dean Koontz, but I don't like all his books. It's kind of like, you like an artist, but you don't like every song they put out. I'm not going to go over the rest of his books, but know that he does have a couple more coming out. Here's one called You Girls Play Nice by Katie Aldyn. When Helen Wyatt is brutally murdered, her 4 best friends anxiously wait in the courtroom to ensure justice is served. But when her attacker is acquitted of all charges, the woman decided to get revenge. Hypothetically, of course. The friends host a girls' night, each presenting a different way they would kill the culprit to avenge Helen. It's a silly thing, a way to ease their grief, until a week later a murderer is discovered that mirrors one of their imagined killings. Then another. What started as a cathartic exercise soon ends in carnage, and suspicion quickly falling on the 4 friends. Someone has discovered their secrets, and now the woman will have to hunt down who is framing them for murder, or even more chillingly, question who among them may be capable of being a killer themselves. Okay, I'm gonna read that. Okay, this one is good. It's called Self-Help for Serial Killers by Asia Mackay. The description says, homework, housework, homicide, you can do it all. Hazel and Fox have it all. 2 children, a beautiful home, and a late night habit of eliminating people who deserve it. Yet work-life balance is hard when you want to kill bad men but raise good kids. With a school mom tyrant on Hayes' case and Fox struggling with performance anxiety after a botched kill, things are spiraling. Therapy isn't helping, but journaling has taken on a whole new meaning. But when they accidentally draw a dangerous group on their doorstep, the couple must pull it together and fast, because surviving in suburbia is no longer just a challenge. Now it's a real fight for their families' lives. And it turns out self-help starts with staying alive. So then, do you serial kill? I shall read this book. And here's one I think a lot of you might like, The Housemaid's Wedding by Frida McFadden. If you have read the Housemaid series, then you'll like it. The description says, "Today is supposed to be the happiest day of my life. I'm engaged to the man of my dreams, and in a few short hours I'm going to stand before a judge who will declare us husband and wife till death do us part. Despite some bumps in the road, this day is everything I dreamed it would be. There's only one problem. Someone out there doesn't want me to live long enough to say my vows, and if I'm not careful, they may very well get their wish." Dun dun dun! I think I only read the first book in her series for The Housemaid. But if you've read it, let me know what you thought about the entire series, if you'll be reading the next one, and what you think about the rest of these books. What you thought about this video. Should I make another video like this one? If you're still here, maybe like and subscribe. That's kind of cringe to ask, but I mean, if you're still here, right? So maybe you like me enough. And see you next time.